Usually when I talk with different VCs, it's like you try to sneak in the question. It's like, so who's your favorite kid? Who's your favorite podco? And they tried, no, I love all of them the same. You go like, no, but who is your favorite podco? No, I love all of them the same. And it goes, so which one of your kids do you love the best? Is it your company, your startup, or, kid number 3? You can answer it or just go like nodding and we can jump to the next topic.
Yeah, it depends we'll just make sure my wife doesn't see this. She'll tell me that, it's the company, unfortunately, but I tell her it's the kids. When she told me I could start this, she has her regrets now, now that we're a couple years into it, but everything's a balance in life.
How old is your startup?
We started at the tail end 2020, really just in stealth mode for a year and a half, trying to work with regulators, see if we can get this concept across about letting insurers buy data directly from individuals. We know they constantly buy data. LexisNexis, Verisk, all these brokers, and just wanted to work with regulators while we were shopping around the idea and just make sure that it can get approved, they'll be open to it. And we got great feedback, in terms of, well, this is pretty fair, it makes sense. So that's what we did for the first couple of years. And then we built out the product, and yeah, we have live customers now using it. It's been an exciting journey.
Elan, how about you'll introduce your company, name, sector, and then we talk about the product, how you got there, what's the exit strategy, which every startup has, but for now, you're going to run it to IPO. So that's also an exit strategy.
Yeah, company's called Ownli. We're a platform to help businesses directly engage with individuals to transparently subscribe to or buy their data. We focus in the automotive, the P&C insurance space, and we basically help insurers. We go to underwriters, we go to the actuaries, and we say to them, like in the older days when you sit across for them before pre-fill. Pre-fill's great, but before that, you need to get all this information from them. What are you missing? Or what do you need a proactive participant on the other side to get some information that is really meaningful? And maybe you just give up on it because you assume it's not out there, or you're scared to even ask because they're not going to respond, or the agent's going to be angry if you give them more tasks. So we create this direct connection to capture this meaningful data directly from individuals, where there's no questions about where you're getting it from, whether or not you had consent. If you're receiving this information, the individual proactively uploaded it. We verify that it's legitimate, there's no fraud, and they give consent to share it with their insurer.
Are they being compensated some way?
Individuals get paid for their data, so they get compensated.
Okay.
Insurance partners basically tell us what type of information they want, at what frequency they want to capture it. So let's say for automotive, mileage might be weekly or monthly. The condition of the car may be just at policy renewal. So what they want, what frequency, we plug it into the platform and we surface it to the individuals at the right time.
So that's actually very interesting in terms of a concept, because it's like, okay, finally, the user is getting paid or getting something. Are you paying cash, discount, or what do they actually receive back, the end user? The policy.
The end user gets actual cash value. So they could cash it out in Amazon gift cards, e-Visa, 100 other options, but they actually receive cash value. They see what they're going to receive if they share this information, and they can say no, right? They don't have to share it, but if they do, then they're giving that explicit consent to the insurers to receive this information from them.
This is amazing, seriously, because I think that in the past, 20 years now? Maybe even more, not 20. Yeah, the boom was, 20, 25, oh my God, 25 years ago. The only thing that we hear about is data. We started a little bit with privacy policy, etc. And where's my private data and all of that information, the different compliances, GDPR, etc., etc. And everyone's like, oh my God, back then it was Facebook, don't sell or buy my data to anyone, all kinds of bullshit like that. But at the end of the day, they gather and they get data from all kinds of aggregator that you don't ask too many questions where they got it. We know that every time we use Google, they just gather more information on who we are, what we are, and I don't know, thousands of different categories that symbolize our profile. And then they basically say, hey, do you want to display that ad to that person? How did you manage to get from all that scare about data to something that say, you should own your data and actually be compensated by companies who are using it?
Yeah, I mean, I think your description, you just nailed it, right? Everyone has a really negative connotation with their data, right? You hear data and you just assume it's being captured and abused by companies. And, in the tech world, the saying is usually give a really good product to the consumer and we'll make money off the data, right? But you're the product, right? If you don't know what's happening. And we've all heard, like you said, data is the new oil for over a decade. And when's the last time you got paid for your data, right? You surf
We love that.
the internet, a cookie pops up on every website. What's happening there? You have no clue, right? So these data aggregators, big tech, they're providing services, but you as an individual, you might have checked some box 3 years ago. You have no clue. Someone can come into your house and, go sleep in one of your beds and say, hey, sorry, you agreed to this at some point, right? And you have no clue what's happening. It's wild. It's the Wild West. So we wanted to just kind of strip it down to first principles, right? If data is actually yours, right? And in Europe, they have GDPR, and in California, you have CCPA, and then 10 other states have slightly different versions. So it's a mess, right? So everything here is like reactive because we know how much data is abused and it's captured without actual intent or consent. I'm sorry. So what if there's a better way, right? And just say, hey, Gilad, you generate data as an individual. There's companies that want to work with you, and let's let companies go directly to you. We have no issues about aggregate anonymous. Lots of companies, especially insurers, aggregate anonymous isn't the best because you might be very different than your neighbor, even if you both have the same car and live in the same zip code, right? You might have totally different driving habits, or you drive 5,000 miles a year and your neighbor drives 30,000 miles a year. And if your insurer doesn't capture that, then you both are paying the same thing, right? So how can we extract this meaningful data from real people and stop making it faceless?
You already kind of jumped to the next question, which will be, okay, great, insurance. And you talked about motor insurance. You started with, what's your background? Were you in the data space or Marcom or EdTech in the past, or how did you start?
So I come from a public policy background, working with large data. Then my wife got pregnant and she said, no academia, go get a job. So I started to work at Mobileye, and that was kind of my foot in the door with automotive and auto tech, working with OEMs. And at the time, we take for granted that every car has automatic emergency braking and lane keep assist. Back in the day, nothing was proactive. It was all just a warning and you had to react. And we had to convince insurance companies to partner with OEMs just for the highest tier models that this will reduce crashes. So I started to work with auto insurers and understood how they model their pricing and how they're working to identify risk from individuals. Went on to work at a company called Nexar. I was the first business hire there. Mission was to build the physical world visually, like Google indexes the web. So let's index visually what's happening, capture car data. Hey, Elan, good luck. Let's go get car data. So we did a lot of partnerships with insurance companies on the claim side for first notice of loss. So we added visual context. We'll package that up with the G-force, likelihood of injury, see who's at fault. Very simple case for insurance companies. Whenever there's a crash, open shut case, no legal gets involved. Even if you're at fault, you pay it out. Lawyers don't get involved. So very simple ROI. And we started to build that out. We captured data and started to, work more and more in the data space. Creating products from this aggregate anonymous data, whatnot. But we kept seeing that every buyer wanted more and more data. You're kind of locked into aggregate anonymous, and you had this friction, especially working with insurers. The more the better, right? Especially now when it's competitive. Everyone took their rates already last year. How can we give personalized policies? Well, you need to know people better. So this was, we kind of stripped down to the first principles. Let's create this platform. And we said to ourselves, if we could do this with insurers, right, where people don't want to share anything with their insurance company, it's the minimum that you have to. But if we can get people to proactively share with insurers, we can do this for other industries as well. And that's kind of why we decided to start with P&C insurance.
And it's always interesting with P&C and how people perceive data. There is the irrationality of the value and the risk for people and how much I'm going to share. So if insurance company says, okay, this is the premium based on their great, I forgot the word for that, their risk calculation, and they will say, oh, but if you're going to give us a little bit more information, we're going to give you a certain discount. While instead of that going, okay, here is the information. If you don't give us the information, we're going to charge you here. It's almost the same concept, just coined and framed a little bit different. And it has an interesting irrational thinking about how people perceive their value and their risk with it. But I haven't seen anyone really using that in reality. But here I see a new way to give actually the policyholder some sort of power about controlling it, which has a certain merit to that, especially when it's, insurance policy, it's a one-side contract that it's like the insurance company, hey, take it or leave it. Yeah. But there isn't anything smarter. But yeah, no, sorry, go ahead.
No, you mentioned something that's actually really interesting. So, we focused, we start off with specific data points. We want to only capture data points that are meaningful, right? So let's say your location data, half the apps on your phone are already capturing that, and it's worth 0.002 cents a month or something like that, right? But there's meaningful data points that are worth dollars for each specific one. And that's where we try to focus, because we're not going to ask you to, hey, go capture this data point. Here's 0.001 cent or 100 points, but actually only 1,000,000 points equals $1, right? Or anything like that. We want to treat people like adults. So we focus on alternative data, things that are stale, don't exist from other sources. You might have it, but maybe you're not comfortable with how you capture that data, which is a new trend we're hearing based on lots of the news articles you're hearing about, like automotive companies sharing data and whatnot. And then you touched on something else. So insurers told us as well, now that we have an individual on the other side, our policyholder is willing to engage us, there's other use cases even beyond data, right? So you talked about discounts. Tell us something about you based on behavior and we'll give you a discount. So a classic for homeowners, you have an alarm system, smoke detector, leak detectors, all these things. Here's 5% for this, 7% for that. And then all of a sudden, the behavior is not happening, right? So someone checked a box and then 3 years later, nothing's plugged in, nothing's connected. So they can actually have the people check in a positive experience. Hey, you're getting your leak detector discount. Let's do a check-in with Ownli to see that it's still on and connected. By the way, here's $5 or $1 for that, whatever they want, so that they see the behavior is actually happening rather than just throwing around discounts across the board, which is a huge amount of premium leakage.
Premium leakage. That's the first I heard about that. I hear a lot of, leakage in the claims realm, but I haven't heard about premium leakage. That's an interesting concept. And discounts, who was that? Yeah, Progressive. They took that in the direction of you're driving good, but you have all these leeches that are bad drivers. As a result, that's how it impacts your rate. So here's a dongle that you should put in your car, in your OBD SOC 2, and now we're going to give you a price, the premium that will be personalized to how good of a driver you are. However, from time to time, we're going to increase because around you there are really bad drivers. That's kind of their way to increase the risk of the price, of course. But it's an interesting way to take that. Now, again, because people don't know how to appreciate, and that's something that I really like about how it's like you actually know how to calculate the value of each data point. How many carriers work with you to get to that calculation?
To extract this data?
Yeah, no, to give a price, to say, the cost of a zip code or your location is 0.02 cents, or I don't remember the number that you said.
Yeah, so we're an open platform, right? Insurers actually decide the price themselves, right? So insurers tell us, this is the data point that we want. This is what we want to pay for it. And by the way, in Louisiana, we'll buy this for $10, but in Connecticut, we'll only buy it for $2 because that's what it's worth to us. And then it's up to the individuals to opt in or not, or to participate. So they actually set the price as well. It's an open platform in terms of the price and the frequency. Right? And then we're in charge of surfacing it to the end user, capturing it, validating. We have a customer support team in the middle if there's any issues. And only once it's been validated, we see that's legitimate. And then in real time, it goes to the insurer and the individual receives the monetary value.
When there was that aha moment by the different clients, and I'm talking about the insurance companies, not the policyholders, although both of them are, policyholders go like, hey, I can make money here. Sure, show me how. But how was the first onboarding of an insurance company?
Yeah. So like you mentioned, the individuals, no one really believes it until they start to participate, right? Because everyone heard your data is valuable, we'll help you earn from it, until they see that they're getting rewarded immediately when they participate and share their data. And they have control to turn it off whenever they want as well. A big aha moment for us with on the insurance side was our platform is we have apps. We can do semi-white labeled experience. If you don't have your own apps, we'll help you with onboarding and whatnot. But we all have app fatigue. And the last thing a consumer wants is 4 apps for their insurance company or 3 apps, which you see sometimes. So a huge aha moment for us was when one partner said to us, this is great. We just invested a ton of money in our app. And the only time people engage with it, they're pissed off because they're paying a bill or they're filing a claim. And there's no other reason for them to engage with the app otherwise. So it's usually twice a year at renewal, and maybe there's a claim. If we can put your functionality inside our app, we'll unlock this positive recurring engagement with our policyholders. And that was a huge aha moment for us and an unlock. Like, why not help them be the champions, which is our mission anyway, right? So let's take all this functionality and expose the APIs and provide SDKs so that they can get these screens inside of their app and essentially unlock an entire marketplace ecosystem for them. And that's really the playbook for any insurer that has an app. That's what we recommend for them now, because it's great for them. It's great for their customers. They don't need to download another app that's semi-white labeled, and everyone wins.
Are you going to stay only in insurance or open it up to other industries that kind of trade in private data?
So as I mentioned, we started off focused on insurance, but this definitely can go to other places. We've had some companies reach out to us. We like to think about it on a vertical by vertical. So if you think just in the automotive side, we had companies reach out to us. One is an oil change company, right? Saying, we're sending out blindly every 6 months time for an oil change, and we have no clue how much they drove. Can we also subscribe to mileage, right? And tire shops, tire chains, a dash cam company told us, hey, can we also get someone's first party data? Right now, we just throw money into Google ads, Meta ads, and the first month or two are magical always, but then it's always up and to the right, right? And we know some of the people don't even own cars. With your first party data platform, we can know what car it is, what's the value of the car, how many miles. So now if it's someone that has an older car, hey, here's a $30 dash cam, that's great for you. And if it's someone that has a newer car that's high value, hey, you probably want 2 camera, front and back. We'll do the install for you. So it really helps companies as well engage people at the right time. That was great for us. But again, we're fully focused on insurance right now and want to nail that. So we went to our insurance partners and we told them about this experience. And the feedback we got from them was, as long as you're not exposing competitors and it's things that are complementary, that helps people take care of the asset that we're insuring, we're more than happy for it. Creates more experience, more value for them to come into the app. So that's an exciting feature is the marketplace. We have right now automotive. We're doing for homeowners as well, for individuals to all of a sudden this data can now be sold to a few different companies and you still have full control when they can engage you, if they can engage with you at all. And that's really starting to unlock our vision.
Wait. What do you mean not sell it to you don't present or you don't sell the information to the competitor? Because your platform, they're going to hire you as a white label and yeah.
Yeah, so an insurance company, right, that onboards their customers in their app is more than happy. They don't want us to start sharing, their top competitors in the insurance vertical. And the same thing now applies. It's just the mirror image. When a tire shop company that has 300 locations, they don't want competing tire shops to show up, and they're more than happy for insurers and for all these other companies. And what's really exciting that we're seeing now is insurers are telling us now that you could tap into these people that are doing oil changes and rotating their tires, they're taking care of their car. That's a risk factor that we never even thought about getting before. I want people that are taking care of maintaining their car, and I want to approach those people, just like everyone wants a driver score or whatnot. Let me get these people. So that's the demand side is actually really interesting as well, and it closes the loop for everyone.
I wonder if there are a few actuaries that are going like, oh, God damn it, now I need to run new correlations and understand these new data points. Will it improve anything in terms of my tables? And the underwriters go like, oh, just bring it on. Let's get that thing going, because apparently rotating and then it's going to be even more complicated. Are you doing it in every recommended milestone according to the book of that specific car? And you do that in the 50, 60, I don't know, 100 miles 1,000 miles, etc. Or you just gonna go, yeah, we'll skip it, 60, let's do it at 66,000. It's fine. Or if you are not driving at all, who knows? Oh,
Yeah. When you get
that's
outside of
cool.
insurance, it's wild, right? Because in the automotive industry,
Mm-hmm.
everyone knows they're generating value. They're generating data. Everyone knows it's valuable, but they're all petrified. They don't know how to make money off it. No one wants to share it because it's their competitive data. And we're
Of
kind of
course.
giving them a way to say, hey, you don't need to expose this or share it in the industry, but let your customers earn from it and you'll get a rev share, when they go join a new insurance partner or something like that. So it's a really nice win-win.
But the same thing within the insurance industry as well. And this is where we
Mm-hmm.
need to give a lot of kudos to companies like Progressive and a few others that go like, I can partner and collaborate with my competitors. If I own a lead and I cannot place that lead, and Progressive do that, let's say something else that it's a product that they will be an agent or a lead gen for someone else who will place it. And for them, they will get a cut. Otherwise, they are just losing good business. So instead of, I don't know, $1, they will get 10 cents. Instead of not earning $1, they will get 10 cents or 20 cents. Really depends what. And if it's something a little bit more complex because they don't cover home, but they need home, small business, and 2 cars, they're going to cover the 2 cars and someone else is going to, that entire bundle, everyone is going to take a little bit and they're going to enjoy who generated that lead or who is placing it, etc., etc. It's something that most insurance companies still don't know how to grasp and to work with other partners. And it's interesting to see that partners or competitors slash partners, right? But it's interesting to see how slowly it made down on them, open their eyes in terms of thinking. It's like, okay, now we can open up the data inside something that is already our closed map or closed world. And not yet with competitors, but already we are getting new partners and maybe partners that can not compete directly with my product, but will be complementary to it. Yeah, why not? It's one step at a time.
Yeah, I mean,
We
what
are
you
not
just
in,
mentioned, I think that's the playbook, right? For larger insurers that have either digital onboarding experiences or agencies, they've all, if it's someone they passed up on, they already bought the lead, they already have the data and engaged with them, offer them a quote from, at that point, it's not even a competitor because you're passing on that risk, right? So
yeah.
let another insurer get their customer.
What's next for you?
What's next for us? I think you always have this push and pull as startups. We want to do everything, but we need to stay focused, right? So we have personal P&C for auto and home is where we operate today. The ecosystem in terms of the participants in the marketplace is growing nicely and organically.
Mm-hmm.
I think the big questions are what are the next verticals that we want? Health is something that's really exciting. I have an EKG on my wrist for 8 years. I'm sure health insurance companies would love that, right? So health is really exciting. We're getting some pull into small commercial. There's a huge tail end of officially commercial business, but they act like almost personal because it's your laundromat, your plumbing services. So we're exploring that as another vertical as well.
Then you're going to find all the different data enrichment companies, which is all, I think you mentioned earlier, I'm always curious about all the LexisNexis and the other data sources that kind of trade in data sets and provide them to the insurance industry. And now there is something that actually that it's correct because it was user created and not, I don't know. I don't know where they are bringing their data, but they have it. And it's kind of a industry standard. Where do they get the data?
They get the data from probably, I'm not a spokesperson for them, but I'm assuming it's a combination of open data that's being aggregated, scraping, probably partnerships with DMVs and cities and states. And I'm sure there's a lot of other ways and strategies that they have, right? There's a lot of players there, right?
The
TransUnion, Verisk,
internet.
Lexis, there's a ton.
So what we call the internet.
Yeah. And by the way, the insurers that are, buying this data and using it, we're not going to replace them. And that's not our plan, right? Insurers have good intentions, right? When you go to get a policy and you click next, next, next on the surveys, when you go to get a policy and you click next, next, right? And all of a sudden you're 37 questions in and you don't know if it's going to end. Insurers want to pre-fill. They want to help you out, right? We've all been trained with Amazon one-click checkouts. They do want to help you, but there is a lot of that data that's stale or even incorrect. I would recommend go order your Clue report, which is from LexisNexis about you, and report back to me on what's missing there or inaccurate. It's very interesting, right? And that's what insurers base a lot of your specific policy on. So there's definitely good intentions and there's a lot of good stuff there, but there's always going to be something that's missing or off and inaccurate.
So, as we are reaching the end of our episode, let me just ask you a little bit more about who is backing you up, because it sounds fantastic. And so I'm sure that you have really good investors behind this beautiful venture. Who are your investors?
We have a combination of traditional VCs from Verissimo Ventures, Circa Partners, Ground Up Ventures as well. We have some strategic investors also and angels, former executives from Yelp, the former CEO of Edmunds, and a few others in there as well. So yeah, really nice group of investors behind us.
You have great investors. You have a few that are hands-on, ex-founders that, I'm sure that Yelp is a great way to understand how, who and what, and to use feedback and all that stuff. Were you looking for someone specific, or it's like, okay, just give me a term sheet and I'll be happy?
Every investor is value add. They say that, but I think we truly have that with some of our investors. So some of them have real deep understanding of two-sided marketplaces, which is really helpful for us, right? So one of the founders of Fiverr is involved as an LP in one of the funds. So really good feedback. Fiverr is a really good two-sided marketplace.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot. Ground Up has a value add team that adds tremendous value add. It's almost like having an army of SDRs. So they help tremendously as well, especially when you're small, right? It saves a lot of time and it's super helpful to get in front of the right people.
Yeah, marketplaces are hard. Anyway, well, thank you for sharing. Elan, thank you very, very much for joining me, talking about your company, your journey into the insurance industry, and hopefully, as we talk with others, there is more than insurance, but it's great to have a little bit here and a little bit there. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the time. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks.